It's hard to believe that an entire town could just be abandoned, left behind by its residents with nary a backwards glance. But it happens more often than you might think. Sometimes it's because the government wants to build a dam or a highway. Sometimes it's because the neighborhood has become too dangerous. And sometimes it's just because people got up one day and decided to move somewhere else. Today, we are exploring Bodie, a ghost town in California, frozen in time since the 1800s. Let's get into it. The story of Bodie is the story of gold, like so many other Western towns. In 1859, prospectors found gold near the Little Wonder Mine and named the area Bodie after the first sheriff of Mono County, who was also named Bodie. It quickly grew into a mining town and at its peak had a population of about 8,000, making it one of the largest cities in California. It boasted a jail, churches, schools, hotels, saloons, and even a winery. The only thing it didn't have was enough gold. By 1865, most of the easily accessible gold had been mined out, and without much work to be done, most of the residents packed up and left. In the decades that followed, different companies would come in and try their hands at working the mines, but nothing long-term. In the 1920s, gold was discovered on the outskirts of town, and this led to a brief revival. People came back to Bodie and rebuilt their lives there. They had electricity and running water for the first time. Streets were paved, sidewalks poured, and modern buildings constructed. At the height of the second boom, there were around 1,500 people living in Bodie. But just a few years later, the mines ran dry again and the people of Bodie packed up once more. So why aren't we talking about a sad tale of two booms and two busts today? Why is Bodie still around? Well, in 1934, the state of California purchased the town with the intention of turning it into a state park. A small group of residents were allowed to stay and essentially lease the homes they had built. This arrangement lasted until 1962, when the last remaining resident died. Today, the town is open to the public and can be explored freely. Visitors walk around on the same streets where children once played, eat lunch at picnic tables outside what used to be the saloon, and stand in the old jail cell. The town exists as a window to the past, allowing us to experience life during the gold rush era. But how did the town go from being a bustling community to the eerie silence of a ghost town? And what does that transition look like? Well, here are 5 things to consider. 1. It feels like yesterday, yet it's been hundreds of years. As mentioned before, the last private resident of Bodie died in 1962. However, the buildings themselves are all roughly from the 1920s, when the town was rebuilt after the first bust. This makes it feel like the town was abandoned pretty suddenly. Most of the homes are in good condition, well maintained and locked up, as if the residents just stepped out for the day and never came back. Some have furniture inside, some have toys scattered around on the floor. There is even an outhouse on the outskirts of town that appears to have been used recently. All of these things make it seem like the town was abandoned within the last 100 years, rather than the 150 or so that it actually has been. 2. You can hear the wind, but you can't hear anything else. When you walk around the town, you will notice that there is very little sound. Sure, the wind blows through the empty buildings and makes the glass windows rattle, but other than that, there is nothing. No birds chirp, no dogs bark, no children laugh. All you hear is the wind whistling through the empty streets. This adds to the eerie vibe of the place and makes it feel more like a movie set than a real town. You half expect someone to pop out from behind an old Ford Model T or peek out an upstairs window. 3. It looks exactly like a town, but it isn't. One of the most interesting things about Bodie is that it doesn't look like a typical ghost town. Most ghost towns are nothing but crumbling foundations and weather-beaten tombstones. But Bodie is a town in name only. All of the buildings are standing, all of them are in good shape, and all of them are empty. There is the schoolhouse, where children once learned their ABCs, the jail cell where drunks and rowdies were locked up overnight, and the hotel where travelers could rest their weary heads. It's almost like a theme park, Except instead of fun rides and cotton candy stands, there are vacant homes and a cemetery. No. 4. Nature is slowly taking back what's hers. While the buildings in Bodie are in good shape, nature is starting to reclaim the town. Vines grow up the side of the brick buildings. Weeds push through cracks in the sidewalk, and trees grow in the middle of the street. It seems as though Mother Nature is just waiting patiently for the humans to leave, so she can take back her own. And while the buildings may stand for another 100 years, it's only a matter of time before they, too, succumb to the elements and become nothing but memories. And no. 5. It's not just a collection of buildings. Bodie was a community of real people with real lives. When you explore the town, keep an eye out for the headstones in the cemetery on the hill. Some are simple and some are elaborate, each marking the final resting place of someone who lived a real life in a real town. Take a moment to read their names and remember that they were once living, breathing human beings, just like you and me. They loved and they were loved, laughed and cried, lived and died. Just like every other person on this planet, they deserve to be remembered. So as you walk through Bodie, don't just see the buildings and the headstones. See the people who lived and died here. See the families who had picnics in the park and dances in the schoolhouse. See the shopkeepers who sold their wares on Main Street and the miners who dreamed of striking it rich. See the people. I hope you enjoyed learning about Bodie, California. If you did, please follow for more content. Thank you to my supporters for your continued support. Your generosity allows me to continue to make videos. Thank you to everyone for watching. See you next time.